We are back. We're back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. This is the Sports Med Bros. It is January 29th, 2026. This is episode 61. My name is Aaron Borgman, as always, with my fabulous co-host and celebrating Indiana Hoosier, Evan Kraft. How are you this evening, Ev?
Fantastic. You know what, Aaron? I went to the Indiana versus Purdue basketball game on Tuesday night.
We don't want to talk about that.
Fa- Fantastic experience from a guy who went to Kansas, that grew up in Allen Field House,
Uh-huh.
to go into Assembly Hall, which is essentially a concert hall with a basketball court in the middle of it.
Yep.
It was a great experience. I got to meet head coach Kurt Signetti of the Indiana Hoosiers.
I
And
tell you
my
what, man.
interaction was exactly what I expected it to be. I introduced myself, told him who I was.
Hmm?
He said, "Do I know you?" And I said, "No, no, sir, you don't. But can I get a picture?" Took a picture. I just told you before we came on, I sent it to head coach Andy Reid, and he was very appreciative of that. So it was a good time. Enjoyed it. Loved every minute of it. Got to go there with Miranda, who's an IU grad. So it was awesome.
I appreciate it. First of all, what a cool experience when you get to meet anybody like that. So that's
Yeah.
kudos to
Yeah.
you. I appreciated two things. One, that you sent over the picture of you and Coach Signetti to the group chat. But two, I appreciated the social media post previous to that you put on your Instagram about wearing the
Oh yeah.
Purdue jersey and having your wife come home and see that and her reaction. That was nice. I showed that to my wife, who is a Purdue grad. She was not appreciative of all the slander. But that being said, what a cool experience. Since we're talking about teams, Ev, I don't know how much college basketball you're actually following,
I Not a lot.
but uh, little
The
team,
Bills right there, baby.
little
The
team over
Bills.
there at
Yeah.
St. Louis University. My St. Louis Billikens. Shout out if you actually know what a Billiken is.
Yeah.
There'll be a quiz later. So listen, we were number 21 this week. Big win, tough win. We got Dayton coming to town
There we go.
this Saturday night or Friday
Oh
night,
man.
tomorrow night, I think actually. Sold out crowd at the arena for the first time in a very long time, maybe
Throw out
ever.
all the records.
You
When
absolutely could throw out all the
Yeah.
records when those Catholic schools with no football teams get together. You know,
Dayton
the
has a
eight,
football team.
well, not Division One.
No, but
Yeah,
still, they have a football
we don't
team.
even have a football team. So,
No, St. Louis
um,
doesn't. No,
anyway,
that's all right.
um, w- we can talk about slew trivia later.
Yeah.
But let's get to a couple little housekeeping items here. My biggest one I got for you, Ev, this week is I screwed up Tyler Lesher's name. Last week, I'm terrible with names. I'm excellent with faces. For those that don't know, I actually was in charge for many years of the signing in and out of players in the NFL. And so I'd always very specifically ask them how to pronounce their name, how they like to be pronounced, what they like to be called, so on and so forth. So I didn't do these things. I apologize to Tyler. We hope to have Tyler on, and I can apologize
Yeah.
in person someday.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I do give that shout out to Tyler. But listen, we are moving on to a very kind of a slower week in
Yeah.
really the
Yeah, it
sports
is.
calendar at large. Ev, we've got hockey going, we've got basketball going. Nothing terribly exciting on the injury front, which is actually pretty good. We're going to get into those sports now that the NFL is winding down. A couple quick things to highlight from the NFL. Josh Allen announced that he had surgery today, the quarterback from Buffalo Bills. This was apparently a very simple surgery. He had a fifth metatarsal avulsion or chip fracture, not a full-blown Jones fracture,
Yeah.
but made some commentary on this on socials today. They talked about it. It was a clean out, and they took it out. I just corrected the one reporter that said they probably didn't take out his whole fifth metatarsal, more likely a chip fracture or an avulsion fracture. He was cool about it. Like it wasn't like a contentious thing, but we see these things. That's why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
This is cleanup season, right?
Yeah. Oh,
This is the
absolutely.
time. I talked to a former player yesterday, actually, who was saying he was having cleanup this week, due to the fact that he injured himself in retirement playing golf. So
Oh, wow.
this is clean out season. Not anything to be worried about there. That's actually more, these types of surgeries are more like do the thing. make sure the wound is healed, restore some range of motion, and just kind of be on your way.
Yeah.
Right. We don't
Yeah.
really do a ton of rehab with cleanup surgeries like this. Maybe just a little bit to make sure everything's still working fine, but nothing crazy. That's the Josh Allen thing. The secondarily, the one injury I did want to talk about, Ev, we talked about just right before we came on tonight, and you got to be careful with this one. You got to go slow with this
Oh,
name.
yeah, you do.
Um,
Yeah.
we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Michael Penix
Yeah.
Jr. Was in front of cameras today, I believe, and talking about he had ACL surgery again. This is his third ACL surgery, this time on his left.
Yeah.
Previously, it's always been on his right twice. But he said, I've always come back stronger. I've always come back better. And listen, we love that. We love the
Love it.
sentiment.
Love it.
But the fact that you keep saying always, hmm, not what you want to hear out of a franchise quarterback, right? And I'm not blaming the kid, but it's just the fact that he's been through the ringer a couple times,
Yeah. Yeah.
many times now. This is his third ACL surgery, so he could do the protocol better than we could at this point.
Yeah.
By the way, former Indiana, football
Yes.
player.
Yeah. 100%.
But like, I'm glad that it wasn't the third time on his right side that this happened to be his opposite side. But man, contralateral injuries, third go round, you just kind of wonder, right?
Yeah.
Not a whole lot to say here, just pointing out that you never want somebody to keep saying, I always come back better. Um,
Yeah.
Not what we're looking for out of a franchise quarterback.
No, and honestly, the kid has done his thing at the college level, the next level, and he obviously knows the routine. So
Yeah,
what what things do you want to see from him that are different from the first two to now, right?
sure.
So like what is he lacking? Like you have to figure that out, especially if you're a medical staff or a strength staff in that position. Like he's your franchise guy. So
Hmm.
he's had two on one side, one on the other. We've got to figure something out because always is not going to be the you can't repeat that every year. So
Yeah, you don't want that happening again. You don't want to keep saying
yeah,
always.
so we have to find the gap there. So I hope they do. I'm sure they will. So
Well, and is it the difference between, does he change up his rehab routine now that he's in the pros?
yeah,
Was he
yeah,
always going to the same place previously,
yeah,
since he was in college? Is there something there? Like, I mean, just a
yeah,
different set of eyes, maybe. Maybe it's
yeah,
that simple. I don't know.
exactly.
We
And
wish him,
it's that's what you have to dig into a little bit because the
yeah,
kid was at two different schools in college. Now he's in the pros. Is he going back? What are we doing? Like
yeah.
you got to put your thumb on him a little bit. So
Well, like I said, not a whole lot to discuss tonight in those terms. Obviously, we'll hear more after the Super Bowl. More of these types of things will be leaking out as more and more teams have press conferences over the course of the
yep,
final of the season. Um, it's just kind of the way these things go. I did want to
yeah,
point out, though, that we will be getting a bolus of sports activity here in the coming months, though. We've got golf is just ramping right up. I know one of your favorite sports. Baseball, pitchers and catchers report in the next 10 days.
yeah.
The World Baseball Classic is happening this spring, Ev. I don't know if you knew about that. It's a
I did
phenomenal
not.
event if you haven't tuned into that. The Winter
Where?
Olympics opening ceremonies start next week. We
Yeah.
gotta, I mean, I'm looking forward to analyzing these downhill skiers just absolutely biting it and going ass over tea kettle as they tumble down the hill. The World Cup is coming this summer. I can't listen. Indiana, not supposedly good soccer. Kansas City, great soccer history. We have three teams that will be stationed here. Ev.
Yeah.
Three teams, count them.
Yeah.
So we got
Who is it?
England is going to
England.
be here.
Yeah.
Argentina and I believe
Oh,
the Netherlands are all going to be based out of Kansas City.
Argentina, reigning
Yeah,
champs.
yeah.
Yeah. That'll
Uh,
be good.
there there is a chance that Messi versus Ronaldo happens here in Kansas City for the
Oh,
last
wow.
time in their careers.
Wow. That's
So,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah. So that's kind of what's going on the basics level this week. Wanted to go right to in and out for the week, and this is something that came up yesterday and today for me personally. But oftentimes in rehabilitation and care of athletes, Ev, we see this concept of treatment versus rehab, and that
Yeah,
means a little something different to everybody. Now, I think I'm safe to say that you and I would define treatment as something that is on a table. It is more
yeah,
passive.
yeah,
These consist of modalities or, manual therapies, things of that nature. And there is a time and a place for all of these things, in my opinion. That differs greatly, in my opinion, from rehabilitation or active,
100%.
exercise or recovery. I think that too often, as you and I have spoke about, that because of either manpower, woman power, or athlete expectations, that we get too caught up in the treatment world. I
Yeah,
had an athlete ask me during a rehabilitation session this week with a separate athlete if I provided treatment. And the athlete whom I was working with looked at me and said, "Here's my treatment." And he's like, "No, no, you're exercising. I'm talking about treatment." And when I said, "Well, what are you seeking that out for?" And he goes, "I just want to feel good." Okay. So, here's the disconnect that we kind of have. I'm going to let you talk about this for a second because,
yeah,
you know, you and I both have very hard feelings on this. Go ahead.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I think the way to start your session is with a little bit of treatment, right?
Sure.
And you and I were kind of raised in that pathway of 20 minutes of treatment, 40 minutes of rehab. Well, not everybody needs 20 minutes of treatment,
Sure.
right? Maybe somebody needs 10 minutes of active mobility or 10 minutes of dynamic warm up. It doesn't have to be a full treatment is, I define treatment as, you know, passive stuff on the table. I define rehab as anything not on the table, closed chain, open chain, whatever you want to call it.
Active.
Like, yeah, it's active. Um, but treatment can be active too, right?
Sure.
Treatment can be active too,
Yeah.
whether it's ART, whether it's scraping with motion, whether it's cupping, whether it's, you name it. So there's many things that fall under those two umbrellas that may be similar, may be different. It's all how you kind of want to define it. We live in a world now where athletes think treatment is, I need to be on a table, I need to have hands on me, this is what it is, and then I go do whatever I'm doing. Well, it's not that simple now, right?
Yeah.
We've evolved now to where we're doing active stuff on the table. We're doing active stretching. We're doing PNFs. Does anybody do PNF anymore? I don't know, but you do. I do
Yeah.
too. So um, it's dyna- we're saying active and passive, and it's now a dynamic
Yeah.
fluid model, right? So it's changed, it's evolved. Like, I think that whatever system kids grow up in, they get used to that, and then they go to the next level and they think, okay, well, I need to lay on a table for 40 minutes and get rubbed on. Well, no, maybe you don't need that. Maybe you just need to get up and move, get your blood flowing, and do your exercises, do whatever you need to do. Oh yeah, now I feel better. I've done that multiple times with people where it's like, hey, my back's killing me. Okay, let's go over here and do hip mobility and
Hmm.
groin mobility and ankle mobility. And oh, wow, I feel loose now. Okay, well, that saved me
Son of a
20
bitch. Who
minutes
would
to
have
me.
thought?
Yeah, saved me 20 minutes of manual therapy. Like, that's just how you have to, a lot of that is education too, right?
Sure.
A lot of that is
100%.
like, hey, we can get you looser, we can get you feeling better by just moving, as opposed to you sitting or laying somewhere and having somebody put their hands on you. So that's kind of my school of thought. I know you're very similar in that
No, I think you're
thinking.
absolutely right. And, there's a certain subsection of this profession that we're in that, you see a spectrum, right? You see
Yeah. Yeah.
everything on both ends of the extremes and then everything in between,
Yeah.
right? And so there's a certain subsection that is treatment only. There's more people that are active only.
Yeah.
Um, and those are fine. That works for them. I am of the belief, just real quickly for anybody that even cares, I'm a movement guy. I think you can
Yeah.
get the most out of
100%.
that, and especially because of the way my practice works. I'm mobile, and so I don't have the ability to take a lot of stuff with me anywhere I go.
Yeah.
And so I am more than willing to do the treatment based items, the passive based items, that if it is suitable for the situation, first and foremost, it's not a blanket thing. But I take the outlook that, like, I'm going to say, hey, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do X, Y, and Z, and we're going to do this because I think it's going to make you either feel better or move better for the active stuff. And we
Yeah.
know the active stuff is the curative aspect of things,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
We think the other stuff might help get us there. And in order to do the stuff that we know is curative, mobility, strengthening, what have you,
Yeah.
I'm more than willing to kind of meet the athlete or the person in the middle for a while until I can, kind of get them to buy into the movement-based strategies
Yeah.
and kind of shift more towards that.
Yeah.
Because regardless of how, I tell people all the time, you and I used to see athletes 5 times a day in the training room.
Yeah.
That's not practical for most normal people, right?
No.
And
No.
so they're going to have to do things on their own. And so I use treatment or whatever manuals or what have you as a gateway almost to the active stuff until I
Yeah.
can get them to understand. And I think that goes back to your point about education. And so I think that was really well made. So,
Yeah.
um, a lot of times people muddy those waters a little bit, and that's okay. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that as long as we're educating as we go. Hey, look, or sometimes you can use it to even bargain with them. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. Let's do this for a little while, but then you got to get up and kind of
Yeah.
move, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. You
I
and I
think
used
you
to,
and I are in the same boat in terms of our modality reach,
sure,
is that I don't have anything outside of this right here, which is my hand.
sure,
So, and some one scraping tool and cups.
yeah,
So
very minimal stuff like that.
that's it.
Yeah,
So if I can do that with my hands, and then we got to get you up and get you rolling.
sure,
So I'm with you on that.
yep. Just wanted to highlight that kind of stuff because I think that
Yeah.
discussion is important. And I think a lot of people are either, I don't want to say nervous to have that discussion with athletes because they think that it will, kind of turn them off or whatever. But like I said, education, a little
Yeah.
bit of meeting
Yeah.
people halfway goes a long way. So,
Yep.
moving along, we have a large section on the social sports med posts of the week. We have several this week. We're going to start off this time with a clinician that I don't have the ability to. I've never had the ability to meet this person, but Kevin Kigugawa. I'm going to screw that name up because I screw names up. That's what I do. I apologize to Kevin. He had a great post though this week on LinkedIn referencing another person that we've talked about before, Jeff Allen at Alabama. Now,
Yeah.
this post goes on and on to talk about the tools available and things like this to clinicians and, evidence-based stuff and whatever. But he had a sign that Jeff Allen posts in his training room. It says, while you are all busy waiting for evidence in a well-controlled study in order to make a decision, someone else is doing it and winning. And I liked Kevin, and I appreciate Kevin for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to tag Kevin, tag Jeff again. We'll tag anybody. But I just really appreciated that. It
Yeah.
speaks to hard work. It speaks to
Absolutely.
a lot of the themes that you and I get down with. So I thought that was pretty cool. And so
Yeah.
thank you to Kevin for sharing that.
Good luck, Kevin, by the way,
Yeah, Seattle
in the
Seahawks
next
in the
weekend.
Super Bowl
Yeah.
next week, and hopefully he sees this messaging before the big game. Ev, you might have heard that Bo Nix and his ankle are a thing this week. We talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
Bo Nix, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, last week, unfortunately fracturing his ankle somehow on a play that seemed very innocuous. There's been a lot of speculation around that this week. We're not going to get into that. But listen, Sean Payton, the head coach, of the Denver Broncos came out in a press conference this week and said verbatim, basically, that this person had surgery. And once in there, the physician, a very world-renowned ankle physician, foot and ankle physician, um, said that the break that was suffered was inevitable. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. And so when I heard this quote a couple days ago, I started thinking about all the things that could potentially cause that. You wonder about osteochondral defects. You
Yeah.
wonder about, God forbid, a bone tumor. But then I said to myself, he wouldn't have been playing with any of those things,
No.
right? And so if he had one of those things, I don't think, and there's a whole host of other things. I'm skipping over like 8 things, but all the things that I could think of, and I even asked a renowned foot and ankle surgeon here in town about some of these things, and he goes, "Yeah, I don't know about all that," but basically the consensus is that wouldn't have been playing if any of those things that were quote unquote inevitable by the head coach were even possible. Well, it turns out that Bo Nix had a press conference today, and he had some things to say to his head coach through the media. Um,
This is juicy,
yeah.
juicy stuff.
Bo Nix says nothing was predisposed. It was a simple break, easy surgery, 4 to 6 weeks. He said it over and over, this report says. Um, Sean shouldn't have said how many surgeries I've had because he doesn't know. Nothing about this was predisposed. Okay. So
Very
we
well.
have a head coach saying something about a player's medical stuff. We have the player coming back and saying, no, none of this is accurate. My only point is, first of all, something's not right here. Something's not adding up,
Yeah.
right? I'm
Yeah.
not saying who's lying. I'm not saying anything. That's not my point. I'm just saying something doesn't add up. My only point is, once again, I think that we need trained medical staff doing these things as opposed to
Yeah.
people that are not well versed in both verbiage and timelines because something gets screwed up and then you get situations like this. Please
Yeah.
go off, King.
Well, was there any mention of a stress fracture?
No.
That that would be my only tipping point to what happened. None of the
Even
other things would have been none of the other things that you mentioned would have been a tipping point to why that would have happened. Regardless of that,
yeah.
if you're the head coach and your starting quarterback is having an interview the following day about what happened, there's a huge disconnect there. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. And
I mean, what are we doing?
yeah, what are we doing? What are we doing, guys? And I know Sean's a highly respected head coach. Bo's a great player. Like you've got to have somebody's got to have communication on that. The PR staff did not do a good job on that
Oh,
situation right there.
man.
So my thing with that is I think it was a stress fracture. If there was something that could have happened in that situation, it would have had to been a stress fracture. If
Well,
it was a stress fracture, that kid should have been on the injury report because it
now
would
you're
have been
thinking like
it
me.
it would have been something that would have come up prior to that game because if it was a fibular stress fracture, if it was a tibia stress fracture, something would have come of that
Well, and
prior
you
to
and I
that
talked
game.
about it last week. If it was a stress fracture and it was this situation that was when, not if,
Yeah.
then that, first of all, unless it's this like nasty, comminuted, weird thing, doesn't
Yeah.
require surgery 2 days after the fact. And if that's the case, if it was one of those injuries, I'm of the belief that he's not walking around high-fiving people after the game and hugging people. He's hobbling off the field in pain.
Yeah.
So, like, something is not matching up here.
There's a big disconnect there.
I'm not saying what it is.
Huge disconnect.
You and I
Yeah.
have traded ideas on this in the past
Oh
privately.
yeah.
We're going to keep those private,
Yeah.
but something's not matching up. And
No.
the fact that you've got a coach and a star player, your quarterback kind of, I don't want to say feuding, but contradicting each other in public, that's not
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
So we're going to
Yeah.
leave it there until more information hopefully comes out.
Yeah.
Moving along, Ev, we had a post. Once again, another name I'm going to screw up. Megan Sack Akbina is a physical therapist, athletic trainer, strength coach, has had very well educated individual. Had a post on Instagram, and her post is it says a good physical therapist and a good chiropractor are basically doing the same job. And I'm going to tell you why I love and both dislike this post. And
All
I
right.
appreciate her putting it out. I think that the messaging is good, right? Like, I think that, um, you want people to always be moving in the right direction. By the way, she is a physical therapist and athletic trainer. So I think what she meant was that, all these people the same. I'm not making this a PT,
Yeah.
Cairo thing. Um, I think that I like the thought of the message, right?
Yeah.
That people, if you're good at your job, you can kind of move in the right direction and get people healthy. The problem is, as you well know, athletic trainers, physical therapists, chiros, we all have different practice acts on what we are allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do
Yeah.
under every state's practice act and our national practice acts as well. And so while I think the goal of the post is to be like, look, we're all getting people healthy, we're all, doing moving people forward. I personally, as a physical therapist, athletic trainer, do not want to do a cervical manipulation. That's not something I'm comfortable with. I don't think personally that most chiros should be involved in the business of rehab unless you have
Yeah.
additional training. I I I like the thought process. I think it just needs to be more specific. Please, Ev, your thoughts.
Yeah. I think it was a very generalized post. Honestly, I'm right along with you. I don't think, you know, as athletic trainers, as PTs, we can do certain joint mobilizations, certain manipulations, but like you said, I'm not cracking necks. I'm not doing any of that. I would hope that a chiro is not doing any type of post-op rehab. And if they are, hopefully they're a PT or an athletic trainer
Sure,
for
sure.
that matter. Um, but I think it was a very kind of
Yeah.
generalized post that, maybe for engagement, who knows?
Yeah, and I'd
Who
like to have
knows?
Meg on and we could talk about it. Like I
Yeah.
think, she'd be a great guest. She has a massive social following. I'm definitely going to
Huge following. Yeah.
tag her and reach out, and we'd love to have her
Yeah.
on to discuss. So,
Yeah.
I appreciate the discourse and the discussion.
Yeah.
Um, just a couple points to kind of clean up there.
Yeah.
More on the lighter side of things, Ev. Uh, for those that don't follow the account on either Instagram or X, uh,
Dungeons.
no, we're not there yet. Not there yet.
Oh, we're not
Uh,
there yet.
Super
Shit.
70s Sports Ev is a
Oh yeah.
fantastic
Okay. Even
sports
better.
kind of memory account. They had a picture of a player. I don't have the player's name, but it's clearly from the early 80s or late 70s for the Boston Celtics. This player is playing in a cervical uh, restraint of sorts,
Yeah. Like a
kind of a C
jaw kind
collar
of. Yeah.
situation. And the post said, when I was a kid, quote, load management meant loading your effed up vertebrae into a brace and getting your ass on the court. This man may be entitled to damages and was still out there giving you quality minutes. Let's grow a backbone again, America. Now, obviously, it's very tongue in cheek and it's a little bit
Yeah.
sarcastic, but I loved it because you and I both hate load management. And I just thought it was funny to bring that to the fold this week.
That was a great tweet.
I've never seen anybody play basketball in a C collar, but this man clearly did it on some
Follow,
point.
go follow the thread too, because there's even better pictures in
Yes,
the thread.
yes.
So yeah.
Really good stuff there. We did not have any pertinent mail hole submissions this week. So once again, we will be calling for your mail hole submissions. Questions, comments, concerns, the sportsmedbros at gmail.com or any of our social outlets. Please hit us up. Advice, stories, things of that nature. Make us laugh, make us question ourselves and what we're doing,
Yeah.
whatever you see fit. We do have a segment of the week, Ev, that I decided to put in this week. New Year's resolutions for sports medicine. What do you want to see or get better at personally, or just see out in the space of sports medicine in 2026, Ev?
You know what? I'll say this. networking.
Ooh, good one.
I want to see more networking amongst athletic trainers.
Yeah, I
As
like that.
somebody, you and I went to convention this past year. There was hardly anybody there. I get it.
We
The
might be going
expenses,
again.
yeah, we might be going again, by the way. The expenses suck, but networking, texting, calling, LinkedIn messages,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
Here's a plug for the mail hole right now. Network. Um,
I like it.
send us your emails, but more networking. I think that has become a lost art.
I agree.
Um, and I would really like to see that more. I had somebody shadow me the other day, and I haven't had that. I haven't had interns, I haven't had any of
Hmm.
that. So that was refreshing for
Sure.
somebody that was like going into athletic training. She was in the high school setting, wasn't really thrilled about it, didn't wanted to go into PT. No offense to PTs, but I wanted to keep her in athletic training.
Sure.
Like, hey, it's not the high school setting's not it.
Sure.
It's not the end all be all. We have so many other things. So selling that to her as, you know, network, come in, see us. I'm trying to get students in my place from IU, from IUPUI, from all over the state. So
Hmm.
I would really love to see networking
That's a good one.
become
I like
more
that.
of a resolution in 2026.
Um, I thought about this question, and I've got like 5 or 6 different things that I'd like to see. But it kind of goes back to that concept that you and I talk about. I want to get better at a lot of things personally, including social media management for this account. Uh, I've started the YouTube channel. I'm terrible at video editing. I want to get better at that. But the thing I want to see for the profession is the kind of bringing up and touting the basics and doing the basics
Oh
well
yeah,
in 2026.
that's right.
Too often, especially with social media world being what it is, we do stuff for clicks, we do stuff for attention, and while that's good, there's no such bad thing as bad PR. There's no such thing as bad
No.
PR. But I think if we're going to do that, much like treatment is a gateway to rehab, I think the clicks can be a gateway to the education of the basics as
Yeah.
well. Let's
Yeah.
highlight some basic stuff. Hey, this is why we do this. And I'm going to personally do a better job of 2026 and using my social channels for that and talking about those things. And so my New Year's resolution, and I hope for the profession, is that we tend to highlight the basics and don't skip steps.
Yeah.
I'm taking care of an athlete right now that right, wrong, or otherwise, the steps were skipped, and we took 10 days to get back to the basics, and he already feels better.
Yeah.
And steps were skipped elsewhere, excuse me. And I said, look, let's strip it down. Let's look at this, and this, and see if, whatever the situation was. But that's what I want to see. I want to see more basics highlighted and
Yeah.
utilized in a better way. And maybe just maybe we can forget the sexy Instagram stuff for a little
Yeah.
while.
Yeah.
I think that's
100%.
okay.
100%.
Okay, on to a product spotlight tonight, Ev. We're going to talk about my good friends Chris Juno and Jason Torrey. They highlight a service known as Dungeons and
Dungeons. Here we
Dynamometers.
go. Yes.
Dungeons and Dynamometers is what they call a force course. It is a continuing education course that they put on. They go around the nation and they are busy doing such a thing to raise the standard, as they say, of testing in rehab and performance, approachable and clinically practical. So they go around to either clinics or educational forums. We will be seeing them soon in person at a
Yeah.
to be announced event. They do force testing through isometric testing methods, either the Tyndek device that we have featured previously,
Oh yeah.
or
Yeah.
things such as the Dynamo from Vald or other devices. And they are educating clinicians, both athletic trainers, physical therapists, anybody that wants to learn about force, how to measure it, how to track it, how to set up to measure it in all kinds of different clinic settings. I would highly recommend that you go check out Dungeons and Dynamometers. We're going to highlight them here
It's a
in
good
this
page.
space because they have a lot of really, really good tips for objective testing. And as you know, if you're not measuring something, then it's basically not worth it. Not to
Yeah.
mention the fact that you get better outcomes, you get better buy-in, and a lot of times in the clinic setting, you know this, you get better reimbursement if you can
Yeah.
prove that your stuff is being effective. So please go check out Chris and Jason as a part of the Dungeons and Dynamometers course underneath the Science PT guys. Those are good friends of mine and soon to be Ev's, and we wish them all the best in their endeavors because they are hysterical guys. Ev, what are you up to this week?
We're getting more snow on Saturday and Sunday. So we had 11
More?
and a half inches last weekend.
Oh man, I
So we're
think we
getting
had
more.
five.
Um, Got to keep the chickens fed and watered, you know. So it's going to be I think we're going to go sledding on Sunday.
Nice.
We're going to take the kids out. It's supposed to be up to 30 Sunday.
Balmy.
So, which is out of the single digits. So we'll get them outside, get them sledding, throw Winston down the hill, make
Is
him
there any
cry.
consideration to skating on the lake?
I haven't been out there yet.
Yeah.
I need to get out there because it's been so cold
Hmm.
and just kind of, you know, test
Feel
the
it out.
waters.
Yeah, interesting.
Um, but we'll see. We'll get there. We'll get there eventually. What about you?
Oh man, it's this one's a hit to the ego this weekend a little bit. It makes me feel old. I have a birthday coming up in my
Your
family.
son.
My son's turning 14
Oh my
on
gosh.
Sunday.
Oh God, man. How old is Ava
14.
now?
My daughter is 10.
Goodness gracious. I
She's a
remember when
fifth
she was
grader.
a little
Yeah.
little shooter.
My son's going
Goodness.
into high school next year. He's we're
Wow.
doing the thing, man. Like
Yeah.
so the festivities for that this weekend, dinners, activities, things of that nature. So we're pretty booked up there. A little bit of work involved this over the weekend for some clients that need some stuff, but that's about the size of it. We have uh all the snow is gone. It's just cold here. We only had like five
Yeah.
inches total.
Oh
Got out
yeah.
the new snow blower last week. Worked great. Went up and down the block and helped some people out. But
Good.
yep, that's about the size of it.
It's awesome.
Listen, we will be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. We will have a little bit of information regarding the Super Bowl. Ev is all your source for NFL Super Bowl medical week. He has been to no less than 67 Super Bowls in his career. God, the guy's just a menace. But he's gonna, recap some Super Bowl memories of
Yeah.
what goes on,
Yeah.
how things go during the week, and he's done that for us last year, thankfully. But we're gonna rehash that a little bit next week and talk about some things regarding that, and hopefully some other sports as well as we kind of get into it. In the process again of negotiating some timelines for some guests for the month of February. Excited about that. And once I think next week we'll do some announcements about some events. Ev, what do you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
We got
that's
a
going to
good
be appropriate.
episode next week.
Yeah,
Special episode next week.
special
Right?
Super Bowl episode.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah.
listen, thank you for everybody for listening. We will check back with you next week. Please hit us up with any questions. Thesportsmedbros at gmail.com in the mail hole. All the socials. The YouTube channel is up and going.
Oh yeah.
It's rough to say the least, but we're out there. Please check us out and
Watch us. Watch us.
watch us, watch you.
Watch us. Yeah.
Uh, Ev, any parting thoughts for the evening?
No, have a good night, guys.
We will check with everybody next week. See ya.
Adios.